Hello and welcome to Balancing Automation and Personal Connection in this Digital Era. This webcast is brought to you by CPA Practice Advisor and SafeSend. I'm Gail Perry, Editor-in-Chief of CPA Practice Advisor, and I am your moderator today. Before we get started, I'd like to explain how CPE for this webcast works. The webcast qualifies for 1 credit of continuing professional education. If you plan to earn CPE for attending this session, you must stay with us for at least 50 minutes. In addition, we'll display 4 polling questions during this webcast. You'll need to record an answer for at least 3 of those questions, as this is our verification that you are still watching. You'll receive an email by the end of the day today that contains a link to your CPE certificate, assuming you meet the requirements for CPE. Please note that we can give CPE credit for multiple people watching on the same computer. So if there are others in your office who would like to attend this event, please have them join you now. And at the end of the event, we'll provide an opportunity for you to send us their email addresses so we can issue credit to them as well. At any time, you can enter questions in the Ask a Question box provided on your screen, and our speaker will try to get to as many questions as possible during the presentation. Questions not answered during this broadcast will be addressed by the speaker afterwards via email. The slides for this presentation are available for download in the Event Resources option on the bottom of your screen. If you don't see that, if you logged in early, you might not see that Event Resources. If you refresh your screen, that'll show up, and then you can download our slides from there if you like. Today, we're joined by Joe Wroblewski, Senior Product Enthusiast at SafeSend, and I'm going to turn it over to Joe right now.
Thank you very much, Gail. Welcome, everybody. I'm Joe Wroblewski, Senior Sales Engineer at SafeSend, as Gail mentioned, and I'm excited today to bring you a discussion and go over a topic that is crucial to all of us in the tax and accounting industry, and that's balancing automation and personal connection in this digital era. In the next 40 minutes, we're going to explore how we can leverage automation to improve our efficiency and enhance our client relationships, and we'll debunk some common myths, identify areas where many firms are losing time and money, and consider strategies for implementing automation effectively. The agenda for today, specifically what we're going to cover, we'll talk first very quickly about SafeSend as a company, just give you a brief history here, and then we're going to go into automation plus a personal touch, misconceptions surrounding automation, identifying inefficiencies in your current processes, strategic automation, implementation strategies, and then a quick demonstration so you can see how some automation tools in action. And as we're going through, we will have a Q&A at the end, but if you have questions about anything, chat them and we'll see if we can't fit them in as we're going through. But again, we should have time at the end to take care of those as well. The first thing we're going to talk about is SafeSend. So I'm going to go over kind of briefly kind of what we've been doing. We started as a company in 2008 with a program called Tick-Tie Calculate that is still in our SafeSend 1. And that is an Adobe plugin just to help mark work papers. We very quickly added the ability to send documents to clients securely and allow clients to send documents back securely with a SafeSend exchange model. We added the e-signing, and then we combined the two into something called SafeSend Returns in 2016. And that is really the core of SafeSend 1 still today. That is an automated assembly and delivery system for tax returns. We added to that an organizer feature that allows you to send fillable organizers to your clients in batches with engagement letters, just to kind of tie together the engagement lifecycle so that you can do more with your clients throughout the entire year. Which really resulted as we kept adding features into something called the SafeSend Suite. We've continued to add products, features, and enhancements every year. And as of a couple months ago, we changed the name of the program from SafeSend Suite to SafeSend 1. And we're continuing to add new features and enhancements almost every day. And in fact, this coming weekend, we're going to be adding another big one. Our mission is to automate the tax and accounting profession with innovative emerging technologies that help practitioners work more efficiently and better serve their clients. We're offering we want to offer the #1 cloud-based workflow automation and client collaboration platform to help tax and accounting professionals eliminate manual work, elevate client experience, and mitigate security and compliance risks. And we're offering what we believe really is an unrivaled client experience. And hopefully we'll get some time to take a look at that a little while later on. And that is going to bring us to polling question 1.
Okay, this is our first polling question, and it is, who is our audience today? And we'd like you to choose one of the following options: tax, audit, bookkeeping, other, or all of the above. And then just click the submit button once you've entered that answer, and we'll wait a few seconds or so, 20 or so seconds, just to make sure everybody has a chance to answer. And just about, if you have any problem answering the question online, you can enter your answer in that Ask a Question box, and we'll record it there. And we'll go ahead and close this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Great. Thank you, Gail. All right. So we're going to move forward into automation and personal touch. So without automation, traditionally, if a client calls you with a simple question about their tax return, it might mean kind of playing phone tag for a day or two, digging through files to find their tax return and their information and their history, and finally getting back to them with an answer. But what if instead you could pull up their complete return instantly when they call, because it's already all organized and accessible digitally? Even better than that, they probably don't even need to call because they already have access to their information through a secure portal. That is automation. But it isn't just about that convenience. Access or across the tax and accounting industry, recent studies show that over 80% of accounting firms are increasing their tech investments. And why is this? It's really because client expectations are evolving rapidly. Excuse me. The modern client really wants instant access to their financial information. They want real-time updates, and they want you to be proactive, providing insights while maintaining that personal relationship with their CPA. But many firms get it wrong. They think often that it's an either-or situation where you are automating everything and you lose then the personal touch to keep everything manual and to maintain those relationships. But what the reality is that the best client experience comes from finding a balance between the two. Today's thriving firms aren't just automating tasks, but reimagining their entire service model. They're using the time saved through automation to expand into advisory services, offering proactive tax planning and developing deeper client relationships overall. We're seeing firms increase their revenues by 25 to 30% simply by redirecting their focus from routine manual tasks to high-value advisory services. Now, the key for all of this is understanding which tasks should be automated and which need a human touch. The things like data entry, Things like data entry, document organization, and reminder emails are perfect for automation, as an example. However, client strategy sessions, tax planning discussions, and explaining complex changes in tax law require that human element. Automation should be overall, it's there to handle routine tasks so that you can focus on what matters, being a trusted advisor to your clients. When used correctly, automation doesn't replace the personal touch. It is there to enhance and complement it by giving you back the time to be personal. Remember, your clients aren't paying you to enter data and send reminder emails manually. They're paying you for your expertise, your insights, and ability to help them make better financial decisions. Automation helps you deliver more of what your clients actually value. That's the balance we're all striving for, to use technology to handle those routine tasks while freeing up time to be more present and valuable in the moment that truly matter most to your clients. And with the rapid enhancement of things like AI and machine learning in the industry, the opportunities to create this balance are expanding rapidly. Now, many of us have heard that some misconceptions surrounding automation. Maybe that automation leads to impersonal robotic services. There's a fear that by implementing more tech, we'll lose that human touch that clients value so much. But when it's done right, automation enhances our capability for personal service. It frees up our time for more meaningful client interactions. And you can even embed personalization within automation processes. So as an example, I'll give you a few examples of automation that can really still retain being personal. Automated email responses, for example, these aren't just generic messages, but they can pull in highly personalized information from client data and include that in the email so that it flows really well. There's digital document management. This doesn't just save space, it also allows for faster, more secure access to client information, enabling you to be more responsive. And AI-powered data analysis isn't just about replacing our expertise, but about giving us deeper insights into providing more valuable advice to your clients. The key is to shift perspectives going from the perspective of automation or personal service to one that is automation and personal service. Automation is a tool made to complement and enhance, not replace, that client connection. So we're going to move in now to talking about kind of white glove service, what it was, what it is. So what does it mean? What does white glove service mean? So not too long ago, white glove service was labor intensive and it had a lot of manual processes and face-to-face time, but our clients' expectations have evolved. They've evolved very, very quickly, and they are ever evolving. Clients still want that personal touch, but they're also looking for speed, convenience, and access to their financial data anywhere and at any time. They may want to go into their tax documents at 11 o'clock from their living room, and they should be able to do that. They're expecting it. So what does it look like today? What does white glove service look like today? There really is sort of a formula for this, at least what we've been putting together is automation plus the data itself plus strategic personal contact is going to result in a client experience that is personalized, efficient, and priceless. So for example, imagine automatically generating and delivering to each of your clients a personalized document request list that is built on a system reading the client organizer and prior year information and just generating that on its own. Nothing you need to do except pull in an organizer. This is the new face of premium client relationships, and it's made possible through strategic use of automation. Now that we've sort of redefined what great service and white glove service looks like, we're going to move into common inefficiencies preventing us from being able to deliver it. There are really three main areas where firms often struggle with efficiency, and the first of those is client communication, which is how many of us spend each week sending similar email statuses and updates and reminders to multiple clients, leaving voicemails as reminders typically about signing e-file forms or making estimated payments, or even just sending source documents back. These are prime candidates for automation. The second is document management, and this one is big. The time that you spend searching for documents, whether they're source documents or anything else, signed documents, and then entering data, assembling tax returns, drafting emails. It's kind of staggering how much time is spent on that. And those are just a few examples. You lose hours each week doing this. Now, the third part of this is workflow. This is things like manual tasks and assignments, not being able to see where clients are in their process in real time, not having access to documents that you need but were sent to somebody else, reviewing and approving steps that that just seem to go on forever and ever. These can really slow you down, and they can lead to missed deadlines and errors. And these inefficiencies come with some hidden costs. So beyond the obvious time suck, they lead to more errors, less time spent building actual relationships with your clients, employee burnout, and ultimately decreased client satisfaction. So how do we identify these inefficiencies within our own practices? There is a kind of a quick efficiency audit that you can conduct, and I'll pull that up here. So these are the steps that we think will really help you identify where time is being drained and where you can make a real change very quickly. Track time spent on different tasks and processes. Map out your workflows to identify bottlenecks. Gather feedback from your team about pain points that they're experiencing that you may not even know about yet. Survey your clients so that you can better understand where they see delays and where they see frustration and even potentially confusion. Assess the current tech stack that you're using and identify some gaps in automation. By taking the time to do this, you're really going to position yourself to be able to prioritize areas where automation can make the biggest impact. And that, Gail, if you don't mind launching the next polling question, I think we're ready for that.
All right, yeah, this is our second polling question. Remember, there will be 4 polling questions, and you need to answer at least 3 in order to qualify for CPE. So this is question number 2. How did you send organizers to clients last year? And the options are mostly by paper, mostly digital, but the client still had to print the organizer and scan it and mail it back. Digital, the client didn't have to print or scan or mail anything. Or maybe 50-50 or a percentage paper and a percentage digital, depending on preference of the client or the partner working on the engagement. Or if none of these apply, then pick other. So we'll leave that up for a few seconds and let you choose the most appropriate answer. And while we're doing that, I just want to mention, if you at any time have any questions for us, our tech team, or for Joe, be sure to post those questions in the Ask a Question box on your screen. And if you've posted a question that you're expecting an answer to from us, click the little line that says Total Answered Questions, and you should see your answer there. So right now, after you've entered your question or your answer here, be sure to click the Submit button, and we'll take a look at how the responses are coming in. They're kind of all over the board. A good mix of people doing things a lot of different ways.
It does seem to be all over the place.
All right.
All right.
All right, we're ready to move on.
Great. Thank you very much, Gail. Let me move this back. And we're going to move next into strategic automation. So now that we've identified areas for improvement, we're going to talk about kind of strategic automation. And strategic automation in tax and accounting isn't just about doing things faster. It's really about fundamentally transforming how you operate and deliver value to clients. And it is a comprehensive approach that builds efficiency gains with improvements in service quality and client relationships. There are 5 kind of key areas where automation can make the most significant impact. And they're on your screen right now. The first is data and document collection. This is really about automated data extraction from documents, direct integration with tax software, AI-powered recognition, things like that. The second one is workflow and even task management. These are things like automated assembly, voucher recognition, automated signature placement, like on e-file forms, firm-wide reporting, real-time tracking, APIs even. Third, document management. This would include cloud-based storage and retrieval, secure document transfer, and electronic signing of just about anything. Client communication is the kind of those automated reminders we've talked about a little bit earlier, curated delivery and guidance through different documents and different tasks you have for your clients, custom questionnaires, things like that. And then reporting and tracking, which would be dashboards for clients and for staff internally, personalized document request lists, which I talked about earlier, real-time screen sharing. Those are just some examples of kind of that reporting and tracking area. The benefits of strategic automation are really significant. Beyond just the time savings and improved accuracy, it does allow for more consistency in service quality, scalability of the practice, enhanced data security, and even improved work-life balance for you and your team, which might be the most important thing in there. Now, from here, we're going to move into implementation strategies. So implementing automation does come with some challenges. There are obviously initial costs to consider. There's training for the staff, training for the client sometimes, the complexity of selecting the right tools, and the ongoing challenge of maintaining human touch within your new automated processes. So to navigate these challenges, we're going to kind of go through some basic best practices of how to get things in place, how to get prepared for putting things in place and finding the right tools. And this is right here. So you want to make sure that you have a clear strategy that aligns with your firm's goals. You need to involve the entire team in the selection process and in the implementation process, especially those people that seem to be that most want to keep things as is. The ones are the biggest obstruction to change in the firm. Those are the ones you really want to bring in because their viewpoints matter just as much as everybody else, and letting them kind of vent and see how things work firsthand on demos, that's going to really pay off. Get them on your side. Get reviews from peers. You can go to your associations. You can go to like Reddit, any kind of forums where other people are chatting about different technology. Find out from them what's going on. Talk to the vendors you're looking at and see if they can provide you with peer references from the same area you're in, same firm size, same tax software even. See what they can help you with. You want to prioritize kind of the high impact, low effort processes first. Get those shored up because it'll be a lot easier. And then you want to also ensure from whatever vendors you're using for new technology that they care as much about compliance and security as you do. And make them back it up. Have them show you what kind of audits they're doing on their side to make sure everything is secure and compliant. And then you also need to make sure that even after you've put things in place, that you continuously gather feedback and keep optimizing your processes. Do your vendors that you're in the new tech that you've added, are they offering trainings on new features and enhancements? Take advantage of that if you can. Get videos, things like that. Now, that is not the only thing that you need to take into account. You also need to know you need to help clients get used to this information. What are they going to be going through as well? So how do you train them? You need to find ways to educate them on the benefits of this. One thing we do, and this is also going to be number 1 and number 4 here, what we do at SafeSend is we encourage and we provide templates for this. And this should really go with any new technology you're ever adding. Tell your clients up front. Tell them before you put something into motion and started using the program, let your clients know you're doing this. Send out a blast email to everybody, anybody that might come in contact with this new technology, so that they have a better idea of what's going on. What can they expect from that? You want to include things about what emails look like. You also want to make sure that you have links to maybe help centers for them, videos, guides, tutorials, things that will help kind of let them know what to expect. That is going to increase the adoption rate a lot. Clients who feel like they're more part of the process and their expectations are set are going to be more likely to take part and use as much as they can of that new system, especially if it's something that they've been sort of waiting for with their expectations of everything should be like checking their Gmail or shopping on Amazon. As they know you're making changes to move towards that, that is going to be a huge benefit to them. They're going to appreciate that, and they're going to then offer hopefully more referrals for you, more reviews, and bring in more business for you on their own. It's kind of very, very helpful. So just educate them on what the advantages are of the new technology you're using. Provide some options for those clients who might not be at a stage where they will be able to use this. How does that work? You want to find out from the vendors that you're using for whichever tools you're deciding to implement. Can you work outside of that, outside of whatever the technology is, and still keep track of those clients so that those relationships, because they are just as important, they all need constant attention. But you want to make sure that you do have alternatives for those clients who are unable or unwilling to kind of move forward with that tech. Again, help center documents, video tutorials, things like that are going to be really important for making sure clients know what's going on. And from here, I think we're going to move into the third polling question already.
All right, this is polling question number 3, and we're curious to know which e-signature solution you use. And we've listed a few options: AssureSign from CCH, Adobe Sign, DocuSign from Intuit, Write Signatures from ShareFile, or Thomson's Ultratech CS e-signature. Or if you either don't use one of these at all, or if you use something other than one of these that we've listed, you can pick the last option, which is Other, and then go ahead and click Submit. And we'll take a look at how these results are coming in. Okay, so we'll leave this up for a few more seconds, but I would say it's looking like the majority either use Intuit's DocuSign or something else. But we do have some spread across the board, so we have users for each of these products.
Great. Thank you very much, Gail.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and share that real quickly with the audience too, so
Perfect.
they can
Thank you.
See what the results are. There we go.
Saw that. I apologize if I did anything on my end to prevent that from other poll answers from being shown.
Nope, all good.
Great.
Okay, and then after you look at the chart, you can go ahead. Those of you who are attending can click the little blue X, and that'll take you back to the slides.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you again. So, basically, what we're gonna go over here now is let's regroup what we've been talking about automation, the balance between adding automation so that you can shore up some pain points, reduce errors, save your staff from burnout, help clients be even more compliant and secure with making sure you take that time that you're saving to work on client relationships. So you're not answering phone calls from frustrated clients because they can't figure out how to do something or there are mistakes. Instead, use that time to work on kind of providing new strategies for helping them with financial decisions in the future or in the past, and talk about kind of what's been going on with them, and spend more time with them going over more important things, more high value items than what they're maybe even used to. So automation allows a lot of different things for your clients and for your staff. It allows for more access to client information, and it does it at any point in time. So if your client's out to dinner and they just don't feel like chatting with anyone else at the table, they should be able to access their information, however rude that might be to others, and kind of get in there and do what they need to do, whether it's signing something or reviewing a document or kind of filling out organizers or questionnaires or whatever they need, whatever you need them to do. Now, faster response times, that is always more apparent in automation. If you're sending documents out for signature, like an engagement letter, which part of automating that process could even be sending those all together as a batch. Getting those things signed and back is going to be minutes rather than days, and they're much easier to track. They'll have reporting for things that needed to be signed in one report. Regardless of which vendor you're using, it should be very simple to track. And ideally, one of the things you may want to ask as you're looking for vendors for things like electronic signing, what kind of reporting is available? What kind of tracking is there? Is it designed? Is it set up so that only the person who sent the document can see everything? Is it set up so that everybody at the firm can see what they need to see? Is it some combination of that? Things like those questions like that are things that I don't think enough people are asking when they're looking for new technology. Make sure you take into account little things. So go through, as I mentioned earlier, talk to everybody who's using the programs right now, the people that are actually on the front lines putting returns together, for example, and sending the people who are in charge of assembly and delivery, and people who have been binding organizers and sending those out, or tax returns. Make sure that you know all of their processes step by step so that you can approach the vendor with all of the information that you're going to need. You don't want to look back after you added something and say, well, I thought they did this, but I never asked. And then it might be a huge deal. There are little things that can really make big savings on both time and errors and efficiency, certainly. Consistent quality. You know that the more hours in a day that somebody is working, doing some manual tasks, like whether assembly of a return or marking where people need to sign on forms or breaking down estimated payments, things like that. The more you're doing of that kind of mind-numbing labor, the more likely you are to make errors. Whereas if you're using automation, the program doesn't get tired. And it's not going to make any errors. Ideally, it should be 100% accurate, but it will certainly not wear down because it's working a 12 to 16-hour day. That will free up your staff to be able to focus on things like client relationships, as we're talking about, and talk to clients about kind of where they want to move forward with their finances and their financial decisions, but also where do they want to go? What is their career path? And they can focus on that as well, so they can work on more meaningful goals for themselves and for the firm. So it helps keep staff happy, helps keep clients happy, and those two combined really kind of help an awful lot with client relationship and growth. More transparency. When you're sending things electronically, you can often include audits, little audit logs on the end of documents, so clients know exactly when and where things happened, where they were. And you can see that as well. One thing that I think is very helpful with a few vendors offer is kind of real-time tracking. What has the client done with these documents? Did they open emails that you've sent them? Did they access their documents, whether it's a return, an extension, organizer, whatever financial document they're talking about? Where were they when they did this, by email address and IP address, and at what time? All of that should be accessible. It really helps for clients calling in to be able to pull that information up within a few seconds, so that you can see what they're talking about and what they've been able to accomplish so far. And even having the ability for you to see what the client is looking at the same time. That's another thing that will offer not only transparency, but expedience as well. So being able to open up on your screen what your client is seeing on their screen at the same time really saves a lot of confusion, frustration, and allows you to answer questions very, very quickly. And then personal and tailored communication. So with emails going out automatically to clients, is personal information being kind of migrated into those emails? And that's something that may not sound like much, but when somebody's opening up a message within like their tax return, seeing their name before a personalized message from you, even if it is mostly a template, if it's able to pull in information from their return or their client account, it's going to help a lot with them. Even seeing information like in the subject line of an email or in the email itself, it makes it feel more tailored for them. And that's what you really want, is a tailored, curated experience for your client that actually saves you time on your end. So being able to pull a client through their processes, and it's a process that is just for them as far as they can tell. But on the back end, it's automated. There have been so many advancements with automation. You can really do a lot with this, with automation in general. So move one thing over here. So what all of this hopefully leads to for everybody is happier clients, because happier clients will obviously increase retention, not only for the clients who are going to be happy to stay there, especially as they see you're branching out and you're trying new things with technology, and you're getting to where they wanted you to be already. Referrals, happy clients always have, that's the best referrals to get, because they're telling people who are going to, service a lot of the same, you're going to be able to service in a lot of the same ways, kind of the same demographic mostly, expanded services. Clients who are satisfied will bring more work your way, not only in referrals, but in with themselves. What do they now want to add into the services that you are providing? It also really helps with a higher perceived value. So even though you're doing less work because of the automation, it looks a lot cleaner, and again, more specific to the client. It's a higher perceived value. And it also provides, finally, a competitive edge. So the firms that are doing the most and are thriving the most are the ones who are kind of researching and attacking the technology that works best, putting that in place as quickly as possible. Obviously, doing their research is incredibly important, but we saw this especially during COVID. The firms that were most successful during that period were the ones who were prepared as far as technology goes. They had things in place so that they could automate, so that their staff could do things from wherever they happened to be, because remote work obviously was important then, and is still important to a lot of your staff now. Being able to offer the ability to access the work that needs to happen from wherever they need to be is very beneficial, and allowing clients to be able to access anything they need from anywhere at any time. Very, very helpful. Those are the firms that really survived and thrived. They were able to pick up extra work, even if they were kind of down people, unfortunately, and they were just better prepared. And that's something that you want to make sure you take into account what seems to be happening throughout the tax and accounting industry. What's going on with technology? What are people starting to use? Use your associations and peers to find out what people are trying. Don't always just immediately get what is the newest, shiniest technology that's out there, because it might not really be the best fit for your firm. And that includes your staff, your clients, everybody at the firm. What are your firm's goals? Make sure that you take that into account when you're looking for new technology, because again, you might not need help in certain areas that new technology, some of the new technology vendors are really focused on things that you might not really need. You may already have something in place for that. So just be really careful and do a lot of research. There's so much out there right now, and it seems like more every day, providing new automation tools, new bells and whistles, which they're great. But please make sure it's a match. You want to be able to really match up what you need at the firm, what you see your clients needing, and ask them what they're looking for. I know we have a lot of prospects that will, when we're talking to them, just to see if our tools would be a fit, a lot of them mention that their clients don't want electronic signing. They're not tech savvy, but they didn't ask them. And it can be a big fail, because new clients don't have to be people that are down the street from you in the same city or town. They can find a firm just about anywhere they want on the internet. So make sure you're offering something that is competitive, and take their special interests into account. Actually poll them, ask them, see what they want to do next, because a lot of these tools were made for people who are potentially less tech savvy. Even though it's more tech, it's made to be simple in a lot of cases. And I know that we have, of the tax returns, of millions of returns that went out, that we had go out, I think over 35% of them were 60 and older, and they had the same success rate going through and the knowledge-based authentication process and e-signing that anybody else at any age had. And that's something that just make sure you take into account. Ask your clients what they want. Don't assume their ability to get through a process. They might be more equipped than you realize. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to jump in and show you a few different things that we offer, so you can see automation in practice. And I'm going to do that by first going through a couple client experience things, so you can see what a guided or a curated experience through a tax return would look like. We'll look at an organizer if we have time. We can even jump into some some firm experience items as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is on your screen, you should see, a client email account. So I'll start with the client experience for going through a tax return. So what is opening up should be an email coming from our system going to a client. And this is for a 1040 joint return, but regardless of return type, whether it's a 990, 1041, 1065, 1120, 1120S, or a request for an organizer to be completed or signature or extension, the emails are going to look the same. So what we are trying to do is provide an end-to-end solution. So during the year, any kind of interaction with your client that takes place, we're hoping that you could use our system so that on your client side, it looks the same. Everything is very simple. It's very consistent throughout. Emails are all coming from the same place with your firm information already in here. Having clients working with different vendors often includes your clients needing to be prepared for emails coming from multiple places. Limiting that can help. Now, from this email, what we have clients go through, the taxpayer, is they click this blue button, and it gets them to where they can begin accessing their tax return securely. We don't use usernames and passwords. They don't ever have to create an account. What we use instead is multi-factor authentication. So I just need two things for James, in this case, to be able to access their return. The first of those is last four of SSN. The second thing they need is to request an access code. And this is something we have throughout SafeSend 1. Anytime somebody is trying to send information to you securely or get information from you securely, they request an access code. And when they do that, our system immediately generates and delivers generates a code and delivers that code to your client's phone as a text, or it can go to their email. It's really up to them to decide how they want to receive that. And once they get that code, so here's what it looks like in an email. Once they enter that into this field here and they click confirm, they're in their return. So there are no calls coming in about resetting passwords or I forgot my username. They just don't exist. Now, this is what a tax return looks like when somebody first opens it up. We always present on the left here a summary of the client's refunds, overpayments, payments due, and estimated payments. That's part of that automation where we're pulling that information from their tax return and just building this on our end. It's nothing that needs to happen at the firm. We can read the return and present that to the client. And that's generally what they want to see first. And then from here, in the middle of the screen, you can see the 3 steps that we're going to guide them through. They're going to review the return, and then we'll take them in and have them sign their e-file forms. And then from there, we'll help them manage and make their tax payments. This sequence is the exact sequence every time. So any button that your client clicks on is correct because they're all going to the same place. So anywhere they click, they will next be shown a message from the firm. And this is one of those messages where we're pulling in information from their return. So this is a templated message, but we're able to pull in the client's name, tax year information. You can pull in the partner. There's a lot you can really do with these, what we call variables, so that your client sees something that is specifically for them, even though it's a template. And I didn't have to do anything with this before I deliver the return. From here, if an invoice has been sent with the return package, your client will see that next. That invoice does not have to come out of the tax software, and the tax software that we work with and can read tax returns from include Intuit Lacert, CCH Access Tax, CCH Pro System FX, Thomson Reuters UltraTax, and Go System. Those are the tax software where we can read the returns, the organizer. We know what to use from there and how to pull information out of it so that we can get your client through a process and experience like this that is very simple. Now, with the invoice, you can use an invoice from anywhere you want. It doesn't have to come out with the tax software. It can be any PDF. So you can provide the invoice that you want your client to see if you're sending it at all. You can even include a Pay Now button so they can go to your payment processor right from here and pay you. From here, when they click Next, they move into the review. And for the review, we're going to have your clients go through the same return they've always been going through. But we're going to have them kind of scroll through their transmittals and filing instructions. and their tax return. They, regardless of what kind of device they use to access, it's all just scrolling, and they can scroll through as much or as little as they want. Totally up to them. When they have decided that they've had enough of the review, when they click next, the next thing they'll be taken to is signing. So we're going to kind of slide them right into the signing portion for their e-file forms. Now this is a 1040, and a 1040 client has two buttons here. It's e-sign or manually sign. So if they select manual signature, we'll provide them with instructions for downloading and returning those manually signed e-file forms. Very rare that that happens at this point. Most people click e-sign. If this weren't a 1040, a delegation option would be here for those entity returns where maybe you're sending it not to the taxpayer or the person who needs to sign, but to a manager or controller, someone who should be in here reviewing like we just did, but also distributing K1s, making payments, but they're not the signer. They can use the delegation option to get the signing, just the signing portion, to the right person, and that allows them to move through and do everything they need to do. The other big difference between a 1040 and any other return type is e-signing. So if you've had clients go through e-signing an e-file form, if it's a 1040, you are probably already well aware of something called knowledge-based authentication, or KBA. And this is an IRS requirement where 1040 taxpayers need to prove who they are, just verify their identity before they can sign once a year. The way we have this set up, we have a 97% success rate, or at least it's never been below 97. It was 98 last season. So we know how to get clients through this process. It's not something that should be difficult. We're going to have them enter their date of birth. We'll have them check a box saying that they've reviewed the returns. You know they're going through all the right steps and in the right order. They can add or update their spouse's contact information here if they need to. And then they'll go through those questions that are KBA. So questions that are unique to each of them that they have to go through once a year to e-sign. It should be an anomaly if you're using our system for them to not be successful with that. They should get right through that and go to their e-file forms, where when they click start, we're going to drag them through everywhere they need to sign. These signature fields were placed by our system. It's 100% accurate, and they're all required. So they'll decide what they want their signature to look like, and then they just start clicking to apply it. They cannot skip one at any point. And once they put a signature in each field, next lights up. If it's a joint return, we're going to allow them one more chance to verify that the next signer's information is correct. They can update that if they need to. And then they move into the final area, which is payment. And what we'll do first is have them go through any tax payments here, if they have any. And then we'll move them into estimated payments. So they will see quarterly due dates, total amount due for each of those, and then one of these tiles here for each authority owed for those dates. If they have a pay button in here, they can get more information and do more things right from there. So when they click that, if the payment can be paid manually, they can print the coupon, they can print the instructions and send that off if they want to. We also have here a Pay Now button. And when they click that, we're going to take them right to that authority's website so that they can make those payments. That's already all set up. So that's not something anybody needs to do on your end. We know where people need to go for those, to make those payments. Now for these quarterly estimated payments, we have automatic reminders going out. So if your client owes something, we are going to send them an email. It's one email for each of the quarterly due dates, telling them in that email how many days they have left to make a payment. It'll list who they owe, and there'll be a link so they can get right back in here and make those payments. And these can be updated as needed as information changes. You can update or add estimated payments to a client's return, and we'll update them. We'll send them an email, and we'll update what they see in here so that it's always correct. And then they're done. So clients have the ability to access their documents, returns, or anything else for up to 7 years. And they can come in here at any point and manage their payments. They can download documents. They can distribute K1s. They can even securely forward any part of their return onto a third party. So if they're buying property, they can send their tax return without these action items off to a bank or a mortgage lender on their own securely, without kind of you needing to do that for them every time. So to take some of that off of your plate. Now that is what most clients go through most of the time with their tax return. We want that to be a very simple process. Again, review, sign, pay. They're done. Fewer calls coming in on your end. What I'm going to do for the next demo is I'll show you kind of a similar thing with what we call a gather request. And a gather request is a new feature for us that we just added, where you can have your client go through a curated experience where they can go through any combination of engagement letter, custom questionnaire, fillable organizer, and a specific client or a client-specific document request list. So let me show you what I mean by all of that, and I'll start again with the email that the client gets. So it looks very similar. They're going to click this blue button again, and we're going to have them go through that access code authentication process again. So let me get that in here, and there's the code. Again, typically it would be phone, but harder to show you that. Once they click confirm, this is what the gather request looks like. And I have all 4 things for them to go through. You can send anything you want. You don't even have to include the fillable organizer. But what we have for the document request list here, step 4, is we took that organizer. It was scanned into our system or uploaded into our system, and we scanned it and created a document request list based on prior year information that is specific to that client. So they will see the exact documents that you're looking for from them, and you don't have to include the organizer. Nobody seems to really enjoy that organizer. You can leave that behind. So when I click Get Started, the first thing that we're taken to is an engagement letter. So if you've included that, they have to go there first. You can even require that they sign this before they can move forward. From here, I have this client going into a questionnaire that I created. So we have client or custom questionnaires that you create. What questions are most important to you that you need to get answered that you have struggled with getting answered in the past? Put that in here. They can be multiple choice, short answer, yes or no, even dynamic, where if they've changed bank accounts or moved to a different state, if they mark yes or no or whatever answer you need that would make you need more information, another question can open up. And these can be required as well. So you can get things that have been hard to get in the past. And then from here, I do have the organizer in here. Now the organizer is the organizer that your client is used to seeing from whatever tax software you've been using. If you've been sending it, that's what they'll see. But everything in here is fillable. So they can check boxes, they can answer questions, they can even update their own personal information in here. So if they change careers, they can mark that and we'll highlight it for you. They can send notes back to you. And on certain pages, if you wanted to include them, they can upload documents right in here. So if they have a picture of their W-2s or they have a PDF of it, they can upload that. And then they're able to just move right along. See if I've got, remember which software this was. Here we go. They can upload those right in here, and they can go move to the next stage or next page or whatever they need to do. Save and close is always an option. If they don't have time to go through everything, we'll start them right where they left off when they come back. And then the final item in here is a document request list. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where this is for that client, just from their organizer. They can upload documents in here too. So they can pull in whatever they need to in here, and they're finished. They can come back in and continue and keep uploading more information. But on our end, as they're uploading documents, we're going to start recognizing those, identifying them, and we're going to start organizing them for you. So on the firm side, you're able to see exactly what percentage of the documents requested have been uploaded. We'll even notify you if they hit a specific threshold that you want them to hit, like 60%. Okay, we can start working on their return. That's when we'll send you that notification if that's what you want. Your client doesn't have to do anything else. It's a very simple process for them. We don't want to add into a process that they already don't like and haven't been doing. We don't want to make it harder. We want to make it easier. We want to encourage them to do as much as possible in this kind of a fluid approach. Now that are just 2 examples of some of the automations we have for organizers, engagement letters here, the return itself. And I mentioned earlier that we do the tax software that we work with. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint here and make sure that any questions, let me check through and see if there have been any questions that we need to get to.
While you're doing that, Joe,
Yes, Gail.
I have some questions for you, but also we want to run our fourth polling question now.
Thank you.
Make sure everyone gets a chance to answer that. And the fourth polling question is simply, we would like to know if you're interested in receiving more information about SafeSend. And that appears just yes, no, or not right now. Or I guess it's just yes and not right now are your choices. So you don't get to say no, sorry.
Yes or not yet.
Not yet, exactly. So pick whichever one is most appropriate to you and pick submit. And that's our fourth question for the day. And then we have some questions for the presenter for you to answer.
Perfect. Let me see. I'm going through the questions now. I apologize if I'm looking away. I'm just at the screen. So which programs does SafeSend interact with is one. That would be Intuit Listserv, CCH Access Tax, and ProSystem FX. And then from Thomson Reuters, we work with UltraTax and GoSystem. Is SafeSend a good fit for a sole practitioner, or is it just for big firms? The average firm size that we have with the few thousand firms we do have is between 1,000 and 1,500. It does work for anybody, and we're happy to go through kind of why we think that that's the case, but it's mostly surrounding the way our pricing structure is set up so that you kind of buy what you need to buy for tax returns. They don't expire, so you don't have to use it for everybody. And the more features you add, just the more returns would cost. But they never expire. You buy your, when you need them. And again, we'd love to go over that in a lot more detail. How long does it take to install SafeSend, and what kind of support is available during installation? It takes about 4 to 5 hours with us specifically. We'll have a staff training. This is all stuff that you can sometimes learn on your own through modules that we have, but we would always love going through live trainings. Almost every firm has gone through a live training. We'll have a setup call. There's always somebody on the call with you for these calls as well. They're recorded. After you've gone through a full staff training, you have time to kind of play around with the program a little bit, get comfortable with it, and then you go live. We really want firms to be up and running within 30 days of purchase. It should not be difficult. And as far as support and ongoing education, that just comes with what you're buying. It's just always available there for you. Anytime you need support, you have it. Anytime you want to jump in and take a refresher training or learn about new features, we have those classes running all the time. You can even download videos for those as they are added. Do you primarily work in direct tax? I might need to look into that question. I'm not quite sure I understand the direct tax versus indirect tax side. Is the KBA required here on the signature, or can we turn that off? Okay, so KBA, good question. Knowledge-based authentication for an e-file form, those can be turned off either globally or on a return-by-return basis. But because the success rate is so high, you shouldn't have to, and that way you're always compliant. If they make changes such as to address or occupation, is it highlighted or noted so that we know to watch for that? It is highlighted. It is highlighted, and we put on the end, so that question is about organizers specifically. If somebody makes a change to the organizer, yes, we'll highlight it, but we're also adding on to the end of the organizer an additional page that documents kind of what your client did, what pages did they make changes to, and there's a link on that audit page to that page and that change. So you can get right there. Can a staff member upload a document to the gathered document list on a client's behalf? That is something that I believe we're adding on Saturday. So it should be here soon regardless.
Okay, and Joe, I'm going to hop in right here. Just want to make sure
it got away from me. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Want to make sure we get just this last bit of information out before we close up shop here. We want to thank all of you for attending today, sharing your time with us. We want to thank SafeSend for making this event possible and enabling us to offer a free CPE credit to each attendee. Speaking of CPE, you'll be getting a notice in your email box later today from us to tell you whether or not you qualified for a CPE, and it'll include a link to your certificate. If you have any questions about CPE credit or anything you want to ask, you can reach me at gperry, Gperry, at cpapracticeadvisor.com. any questions that Joe was unable to get to today, we're going to send to him so he can respond by email. Again, thank you all. I think we're about to wrap it up here. Any last words, Joe, in the last 5 seconds?
Thank you all very much. Thank you guys for being allowing me to go over here for a minute, and thank you for everyone for attending.
All right, our audio is going to end now. Thanks so much.